It's been 3 weeks.
It's been more than 1 week. Are you sure I have met your expectations?
3 weeks. 3 weeks since the mighty Thor has shown up. And in that time, we've gotten our accessories pack, including the grip. And quite a few things have been discovered, and quite a few things have changed since the mighty Thor first arrived at our doorsteps. And today we're going to do our review of this after having used this impressive handheld now for 3 weeks. I'm going to do my review of it and point out all of the wonderful things, as well as a few things that are a little bit bothersome. Remember to hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss an episode of our awesome content. But today, let's do our deep dive into the AYN Thor and take a look at and do our full review of this innovative dual screen handheld. Some things in life can be intimidating. They can be a little scary, but they don't have to. In fact, going to the dentist doesn't have to be that way. Just look at how we handle things at Dead Fred Dental.
This is my first time.
At Dead Fred Dental, we cater to noobs.
That's right, noob. Come on down to Dead Fred Dental and get your cleaning. No, wait, I don't own a dental office. I'm not a dentist, and that is sort of a creepy name, Dead Fred Dental. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Or welcome to the channel for the first time, new deadheads. Today, we're going to take a look at... Alright, so first let's start with a recap with the specs. The Thor delivers in two different configurations. First, we have a Thor Lite. Now, to my knowledge, as of filming of this video, nobody has actually reviewed or given impressions of the Thor Lite. The Thor Lite runs on the Snapdragon 865, the same CPU that we've seen in the Metroid Pocket 5, the Metroid Pocket Mini V1 and V2, and so we kind of know that CPU, so it's not surprising, but nobody's really had that version to test. Now, the other version you can choose from is the AYN Thor with the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, which comes in a base, Pro, and Max model. They all feature the same 6-inch AMOLED 1920 by 1080 on 120 Hz top screen, along with a 3.92-inch AMOLED 60 Hz bottom screen. Now, the differences between the base, Pro, and Max have to do with the storage and the RAM, which can go all the way from 8 gigs of RAM up to 16 gigs for the Max, and the storage can go from 128 gigs all the way up to a terabyte of storage on your hard drive. They're all running Android 13. They all have a 6,000 milliamp hour battery, and they all have Wi-Fi 6 with Bluetooth 5.1. So it is a very capable machine. We know that 2 years ago, the Odin 2 was launched, and it surprised everybody with its Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 that really threw people for a loop because it seemed to come out of nowhere at a price out of nowhere. So we've really been able to use that CPU for quite a while and kind of find out what it can do. So in the last 3 weeks, I have been using this as my daily driver. And I want to talk first about the hinge, okay? Because the hinge is everything, right? And Metroid had the Pocket Flip 2, which ultimately suffered from some hinge issues. And because Morchip, the manufacturer, also helps manufacture AYN, there has been some concern about whether or not this hinge would hold up. I'm here to tell you guys that I have stress tested this hinge. I mean, I have literally just like laid on it. I have held it upside down. I have somewhat abused it. And while the hinge makes a little bit of a noise, it is a good solid hinge. Now, having the benefit of the purple see-through Thor, I am able to kind of see the mechanism and see it as it turns. And it does look like they have got it supported in a pretty good way. Almost looks like a butterfly flapping, huh? Flap away. So, yes, after 3 weeks of shutting, opening, and you can see I'm not being gentle here, the hinge has held up. Now you might say, Fred, 3 weeks is nothing. Metroid in the first 3 weeks didn't have their hinge crack. You're right. This may still be a little early, but I do want you to know that this thing is not designed in a terrible way. The hinge holds up. Now, the CPU in this, the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, is still a very effective CPU. And AYN issued a statement that they were working closely to support Linux on the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 chips. So I'm very excited that Linux, like Rocknix or other Linux-based custom firmware, may come to this one day. And I really am hoping and looking forward to that. That being said, the stock 13 Android firmware in this is every bit the familiar firmware that we have been using for the Portal or for some of the other AYN Odin handhelds. There is nothing here to report that is quite different. It's pretty much the same experience on those other handhelds. It's a good solid experience with an easy setup process for beginners. So I want to commend them for really putting together a package that is both easy to use and understand and also very effective in its ability to provide gamers with a quick solid setup. Moving on, and let's talk about these dual screens. Hey guys, it's been 2 years. 2 years since I first officially launched this channel and posted my first videos. And I wanted to just say thank you to each and every one of you for every comment, every like, every subscription, even the ones that gave me criticism. It's been a great 2 years. And I especially want to say thanks to our partners, including Aliexpress, who have made this channel possible. Now, we're coming upon the biggest sales of the year. Every year during 11/11, or Singles Day as known in China, is one of the biggest sales days for Aliexpress. This is the month that Black Friday occurs after all. And I want to just share with you that we've got some really great codes for all kinds of the gaming things that you love. Check all my reviews, but if you check out my influencer page here, you'll see that we have a lot of codes and stuff picked for you specifically, including non-gaming items like 3D printers. So if you're looking to score some big savings, please check out the links below and help support the channel, as well as Aliexpress, who is a great partner with us. Now, on to the show. Okay, the top screen is simply gorgeous. We do not know yet if this is exclusive to Thor, if this is the same top screen that we're going to see in the Odin 3. We think it may be, but this is a huge 6-inch screen with those perfect OLED blacks, those inky blacks, the popping colors. I have a beautiful AMOLED wallpaper here you can see that just looks fantastic on this thing. The bottom screen, the 3.92-inch screen, is the same screen that we've seen in the Retroid Pocket Classic, in the Retroid Pocket Mini V2, and in my beloved Snowcake. It is a beautiful, gorgeous OLED screen that also pops at a resolution that's a little bit weird, but works really, really well for retro content, especially content like Game Boy, Game Boy Color, TurboGrafx, Sega Master System, some of the older systems like that. You can get a really good experience. Now, the real big question with this was whether or not Metroid could pull off the software capability to make this thing work. And in one of the most impressive software launches I can think of for something so distinct and newer, I have to give proper credit to AYN for pulling this off, because the out-of-the-box experience with this is really good. There is a button along with a raised lip at the bottom middle part, and this button, the AYN button, is your command center to really do a lot of things that you want to do with the bottom and top screen. Now, one of the early issues that were presented, and overall is still something that is a little bit of an issue, is the fact that the two screens don't have the same refresh rate, and Android itself has not been coded or developed in a way to truly support that. Now, Gamma has a hold of one of these. I'm looking forward to what Gamma can do, but AYN did come up with a solution that is pretty good. Now, the solution does cause a little bit of screen tearing on the bottom of the bottom screen whenever you're doing things. So it should be noted that it's not a perfect solution, but we are able to have that beautiful 120 hertz, 120 frames up top while still playing in the bottom and doing things in the bottom, which is more appropriate for guides, walkthroughs, chats, Discord, things like that, rather than gaming on it because of the screen tearing issue. Maybe Gamma will be able to squeeze a little more out of this, but initially we thought we were going to be locked to 60 at both if you were going to run both screens. Now, the beauty of that is this button allows you to do independent things like independent volume. You can do independent screen turning on, turning off. So it's really nice, really amazing, and very functional. It is a great effort at launch, and I look forward to and hope that AYN will continue to develop this software to give it some more polish. The battery life on this thing has also been pretty impressive. Now, the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 is a somewhat efficient chip, but it's gotten even more optimized over time with drivers and support. Gamma is probably going to be able to, I keep saying Gamma, but it's true. It's probably going to be able to squeeze more efficiency out of this. But I was a little initially worried about the battery issue using both screens. Now, if you do use both screens, it will take more battery. You can save battery by turning off the bottom screen, turning off the top screen. But who wants to do that when you have this beautiful dual screen solution? So the battery life overall on this has not been a concern. I think they did a good enough battery to keep the size smaller. It would be nice to see a battery go up a little more. Another 1,000 milliamp hour. That would be nice to throw that in there and give it just a little more oomph than what it has, but the battery is not a problem at all. Connectivity, Wi-Fi 7. This is one of the first devices that I've used where Wi-Fi 7 has really made a good difference. I really like it. I think the connectivity on this is good. As a streaming solution, it's good. Using this as a ventilator, game hub, Xbox Cloud device has been very effective for me. I haven't had any issues with it. Overall, the 3 weeks that I've spent with this has proven to me that there is hope that one handheld can do a lot for us. This has become my default handheld for 3DS, for Wii U, for DS. It's just a no-brainer. Now, Ambernick's coming out with their RGDS, and it looks very interesting for DS. But I'm not sure if you have this, that's a compelling reason to move to that, other than nostalgia. I really like the AYN Thor. I am not trying to fanboy it. I'm trying to be critical of it. There are issues with it. The hinge is still an unknown long term. The battery life is great, but could be better. It's just hard to find a lot of fault with this thing because it can do so many things so great. It's just really, really good. So leave me a comment and let me know what you think. My initial impressions on this were very favorable, and now that I've had this thing for nearly a month, I find myself picking it up. I find myself playing it. It is not worn off after the first week. There have been plenty of shiny new things to grab my attention. Yes, for a minute, the Retroid Pocket G2 did grab my attention away from the Thor, but long term, this guy satisfies. Let me know what you think. I want to hear your comments. Leave me a comment. Is the Thor overhyped? Do you think the Thor is where it should be? Are you seeing any issues with the Thor online I should be aware of? I want to know about it. But overall, great hardware, great software, a great company that delivers, and I'm looking forward to a potential Thor 2. Remember to hug your loved ones and love your hug ones, because tomorrow is never promised. We'll see you next time, Deadheads. Dead Fred out.